Hello, this is Preston Jones, and I will be doing a podcast today covering how oil can support green energy. So renewable energy is it's a proven option to produce the nation's power for the future as the availability of oil and other non-renewable energy becomes more kind of less harder to come across. So it's time I think that the oil companies use their resources and their power that they've built up over the years to help green energy kind of take the next step and to kind of lead its way into taking over the place of oil as our main source of energy production to kind of savor our non-renewable resources. Um, so we don't see the day when they come completely gone, which won't ever be in our lifetime, but it's gonna come at sometime, whether it's 100 years from now or 5,000 years from now, but it is expected to come. Um, the only way I see this happening is if the oil companies help green energy and finally uh, do more to support their their person they're going against. I guess their competitor, which is clean energy. It's time to maybe join the other side and see what their resources and power can do to help them. So my argument I have today is that if all the oil companies use their resources and clean energy like they put their resources towards clean energy, it can take the to the next step for the betterment of the world's population. Because over the past 100 years, more or less, oil companies have they've been the big dogs. Like the oil company, like production, like Chevron, Shell, BP, like they've been around. So they've built up these reputations and their the power, like the money that they have, that it's time to use that power and resources they built up to help um, go towards a different direction that's better in the long run for our not just our country but just the entire world and the planet itself. Um, I mean, so basically, clean energy it may not have the same profits as oil does right now. Side by side, oil still makes more. It produces more, and it still has more weight uh, monetary wise. But it's not about like where we are today. It's about getting to where we're gonna be. So it's not about just because the profits of oil are more now that later in life they're gonna become more valuable because the world is trending more towards the clean energy way. So these the profits will be low to start. I mean, it's not like they're gonna make absolutely nothing, but it won't be as much as oil makes now. So it's good to compare, but it's about the future, not right now. So the future of our world's oil supply, it is on a slow decline. So it like I said, it'll never run out in my lifetime, but it will. It's definitely declining slowly, and over the time, it will eventually run out. Um, but it's not really about just finding ways to compete with us not running out. It's just maybe we find a way to produce power and conserve what we have, or in conserve the oil supply that we have in the ground, or just overall, and give the Earth time to replenish itself, possibly, so that we step away for a little bit, and then it's there if we need it. But hopefully, in the long run, we can get down to just clean energy, like renewable energy is just all we need to get by. Um, so that's why I think it's good for like if the big oil companies jump in now, um, and do what they can to help, and then they give a little kickstart. So then you get everything going now, and it helps in the long run, uh, so that we can get where we need to be. Um, so an example I want to use is Elon Musk. He jumped on it early to like the views of clean energy uh, and like transportation. So like he capitalized on it, and now he's one of the richest men on earth because he saw the changing times. He found a way. Tesla, he is, and now he's the electric car company, and they're doing more than just that. So it proves that you can jump on it, and you can capitalize on it in time, and then you can maximize your profits, and you can be making more than you ever thought you'd be making. So that's what in Elon Musk's case, that's what he did, and now he's recognized, and people know him and his brand, and that's where I like to bring in my next point of like transportation. So there's been like companies like GM, General Motors, like Chevy, GMC, Cadillac, all those been around for years, hundreds of years. They've built up like their representation of like what they are. They're like they've always had gas cars. It's always been gas, diesel, just running off fossil fuels, non renewable resources. But over this last year, or these last like few past months, even they've announced like their movement towards the like using green like energy cars. Like so, a good point is like they the Hummer is in the past known as one of the worst uh, gas mileage cars around. It's just it's how it's always been. They get terrible gas mileage, and then they stopped making them for a while, and they re-announced now that in I think 2022 they will have a Hummer model that comes out that will be completely electric. Um, so not only that, they have like a Cadillac coming out in a few years that'll be completely electric. They have Buicks coming out that are be completely electric. They have about 20 cars lined up over the future in the next 5 years to be replacing these cars that were before them that used gas. Same thing with Ford. The Mustang. Mustang's been around for 50, 60 years now, more than that, and they've completely scrapped the muscle car look, and it's now a fully electric SUV. So they not only is it these like smaller companies that are making their change, it's like big well-known companies that are making their change, and it's something to get behind that the oil companies can get behind and see that like it's not just small companies making the changes, big companies that are gonna in the end uh, like help green energy like take it to the next level too. It's not just the producers of the energy. It's you have the producers, and then you have someone that can sell the need for it, because you don't want to buy a car and then you can't provide enough electricity for it, and it's so there's the producers, and then there's something you could buy to go with that. So they work hand in hand. Another thing that's been around that we've been trying to perfect for about 100 years now is nuclear fusion. So nuclear fusion is when you combine two atoms and it produces enough energy to power almost the entire U.S. It's the same ideal as like the sun. It's the same way the sun produces so much energy, and it's like it provides our light. Is that like the sun goes through its own nuclear fusion, and that's what it hasn't been perfected over the years. But if it had the support of like a big brother, like an oil company, it could take from being kind of it works sort of works to being perfected and becoming a vital source of our energy production. So that's what like if it's important for these big companies to realize that hey, like this is something we could help with, and we have the resources and we have the people and the money to put behind it, to make a change in the end. So like fusion, like I mean, wind energy, hydropower, solar energy, they've been around. They've been basically perfected. They'll continue to grow, and like we know what those are. But a lot of people know about fusion, and fusion is it's the future of like renewable energy, because it leaves a low footprint, and it also creates a lot of energy, because it's the same thing the sun does. So I think that these big companies can come together to work out what they need and help us speed up the timeline of things like fusion. So then, like with these steps, we can get the future here quicker than is expected, and we can make these progressive movements and have what we need before we even think we were going to have it. With the support of these big oil companies is the key. So at the end of the day, it's up to the big oil companies, but I believe that with their support, they can make the proper changes we need with renewable energy, and we can see the future a lot quicker than we expect it to. And I think that and all the big companies in the end will profit from this, and I believe that it will be better for everyone in the end. and the future will be bright for us.